Hello fellow stackers, 365 here, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to talk about a couple of the items on my backdrop. Now more specifically these two boxes here. Now these two boxes have been in quite a few of my backdrops now, and I have had a couple of people message me asking what's inside them. So let's have a little look in today's video. Now for those of you that are long-term subscribers, you'll already know what is in these boxes because you would have saw when they first arrived and when I first unboxed them on the channel. But for those of you that are newer subscribers, you won't necessarily know what is in these boxes. So I thought I'd showcase them today. Really cool pieces of silver, custom made. Let's get straight into it. So as you can see, they're in fact solid silver dice, or die, however you like to call them. You can see you've got Backyard Bullion's hallmarks on them. They're 3/9 fine silver, and these were actually handmade by Backyard Bullion himself, and they are really cool pieces of silver. Now obviously when you're buying items like this, they do always contain a premium. You're never going to pay the weight value for items like this, but I believe these are 3 ounces each in weight, so they've got quite a nice weight to them. And as you can see, they're absolutely gorgeous, really nice. And the way that he's crafted these is they can actually roll like normal dice. So not only are they great pieces, you can also actually use them. So say you was playing Monopoly or something like that, you could actually use these dice whilst playing. Let me just lock the focus for a few seconds there. Absolutely gorgeous pieces of silver. Now like I said, when you buy items like this, custom made, custom poured pieces, you're never going to pay anywhere near spot. You're always going to expect a premium, but that is because a lot of work goes into these. There are videos on Backyard Bullion's channel of him talking through the process, and there was only a limited amount of these made. So don't get me wrong, he probably will end up making some more in the future because they were very popular. But it's not something like a normal coin that can just be pumped out, or even like a normal poured bar that can just be pumped out very quickly. Things like this take a lot of time, a lot of craftsmanship, and a lot of hard work goes into them. But yeah, really cool pieces, and let's just show you how they roll. I don't want to damage any of this silver, so you can see they actually roll like normal dice. They don't just kind of sit there. So really cool pieces of silver. And I think they would look great if you were playing, like I said, a game of Monopoly or something like that that requires a couple of dice. How cool would it be to actually play the game using these? Now, in the future, I do plan to see if Backyard Bullion can make me some Monopoly pieces. So, you know, the little characters like the hat and the car and the horse and the things like that that go around the Monopoly board. I do like the idea of in the future getting some of those pieces hand poured in silver as well. Because it would be nice in kind of the long-term future to actually have a Monopoly set that is made out of silver, even to the stage where some of the houses, or maybe just the hotels, I think if you start going down getting all the houses made, it is going to end up really expensive, but you could get like the hotels made in silver, so that when you upgrade from 4 houses to a hotel, then you get obviously a solid silver piece on the board. I just think it would look really cool. Monopoly is one of my favorite games. I do think Monopoly, when you actually look into the fundamentals behind Monopoly, it's so true, the basics behind the game. If you continue to just go around life collecting $200 or 200 euros from Go, that is kind of what people do if they just do the 9 to 5. They just go around in circles in life, paying rent, paying bills, and just collecting their one income, which is when they hit Go. That is how you gradually lose money, and over time you don't become wealthy. Whereas if you play life like the Monopoly board and you go around and you buy actual assets and you actually buy properties and you're actually accumulating rent and you're making multiple sources of income, like when you acquire the train stations or the gas works or the water works on the monopoly board, you're actually getting additional income when other people land on them. And as you go around in life, not only are you collecting your wages from your main job when you hit go, you're also collecting all these different sources of income as you go around, and other people are paying you rent and all the rest of it. So yeah, I think Monopoly is a great way, especially to get children into the concept behind investing your money into assets and not just plodding along through life, paying bills and just collecting one source of income. And I do believe that multiple sources of income is so important, in especially nowadays when jobs are so unsecure. You're really looked at like a number now in your job. I remember years ago when I first started working, and even more so when obviously my mum and dad were younger and my grandparents were younger, you were really valued as an employee. And if you had time off work, I remember when I used to have time off work and I'd go back after a week or two off work when I'd been on holiday, and they'd say, oh, we really missed you, so good to have you back. It's been a nightmare while you haven't been here. Whereas now a lot of jobs are automated, a lot of jobs are made where if you're off, someone else can just fill your role very easily. A lot of the work that I do has been so computer based now that once I've set everything up, if I have time off, someone else can just sit in my place and they can do everything that I do in my day-to-day job. Fairly straightforward, without much actual knowledge, because the knowledge that I've got, I've actually already inputted into the system. So now the system saves it. So it's very easy for someone to step up and do the same work that I can do. So yeah, you're not really valued now. When I go back after a holiday from work now, you don't really get that sense of we've missed you or anything like that, because like I said, when you're off, someone can just replace you very simply. And that is what a lot of companies are doing now. A lot of companies are going down the route of making it easier to replace employees by making it a lot more computer based, and a lot of knowledge is being taken away from people. So it's a real shame, and that is why, like I said, even more so, it's so important to have multiple streams of income. If you've got, say, 5 different streams of income, you would need 5 different streams of your income to dry up in order to not have any money coming in. Whereas if you've just got one source of income, which is your job, and you lose your job, whether it be your company goes bankrupt or for health reasons or whatever it may be, once you've lost your job, if you've only got one source of income, suddenly all of your income dries up. So that is why it's very important to have multiple sources of income. And also that's why I think it's very important to, if you can, be self-employed. Let me use an example. If you're self-employed, let's use the stack collector as a prime example. If you're working as a self-employed landscape gardener slash tree surgeon slash kind of handyman in the garden, he literally does everything. He's a qualified tree surgeon, he can do landscape gardening, he does kind of house clearances, he does kind of a bit of everything. Now let's say for example, he has 200 customers. Okay, I don't know his customer base or anything like that, but let's say for example, he has 200 customers. Now, in order for his income to completely dry up, all of 200 customers would have to essentially sack him. Now, for me, for example, I work in the corporate world, so I'm employed by one boss. Now, in order for my income to dry up, I would only need one person to sack me. I'd only need one person to suddenly take a disliking to me, suddenly decided they wanted me out of there because they wanted a fresh team of people in there, whatever it may be. It would take one person to decide that they didn't want me in that company anymore, and one person would sack me. That one person would sack me and my income would completely go. Whereas, like I said, using the stack collector as an example, he would need 200 people to suddenly dislike him or suddenly not want to use his services anymore. So it would take 200 people to sack him before his income would completely dry up. And that is the easiest way of explaining it to people when I say it's so important to make multiple streams of income, try and go self-employed. And that's a big regret of mine. I really regret not trying to go self-employed when I still lived at home with my parents and when I didn't have mortgages and bills and children and all these different outgoings that you have when you live in your own home. And that is something I'll always guide my children into doing. If my son grows up and he decides he wants to be a car mechanic, for example, instead of looking for jobs at an actual car mechanic, I would encourage him to start his own garage. I would encourage him to find a garage space to rent and just go self-employed and hire his own team. Obviously, first of all, start off on his own and then gradually build up the branding and then start his own team. And then, like I said to you, get to a stage where you have multiple employers essentially, because all your customers are your basically employers. If you own a car garage and you have 100 people that visit you over the course of a month. You've got 100 people that employ you. So it'll take 100 people to suddenly stop using you for your income to completely dry up. So yeah, like I said, that is definitely something I'm going to be encouraging my children to do. Whatever space of work they want to get into, I'm going to try and encourage them to think bigger and go down the self-employed route. So it brings me back nicely to Monopoly board. You're not going to progress in life if you focus on just receiving one income from when you reach go. So let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. As always, thanks very much for watching my videos. I hope you enjoyed the dice and the journey it took us down. And I think the takeaway from this video is never rely on one source of income. Always try and create multiple sources of income, because you never know when one of those streams of income could dry up. As always, like I said, thanks very much for watching. Thanks for all the support, and I hope you have a very nice day. And these are actually handmade buyback bullion, and these were actually handmade buyback bar